Good morning, students. Today we will deal with the question of symbolism in Wuthering Heights. You can put it like symbolism in Wuthering Heights, and the examiner can ask you about the principle of storm and calm in Wuthering Heights, or the two houses presented in the novel Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange. What do these houses represent? So we'll begin with the introduction of the novelist and the novel. Then we will write about the meaning of symbolism. What is a symbol? And we all know that a symbol is a word or phrase or an image which represents something else. Then we have conventional symbols and personal or unconventional symbols. So the major symbols in Wuthering Heights are: number one, there are two houses, Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange. Number two, the principle of storm and calm. The passions represented by the inhabitants of these houses. One represents violent passions and another represents calm. The third is symbolism of windows and doors. And fourth is imagery of animals. And then there are some other symbols in the novel. So we will begin with the two houses. The novel begins in Thrushcross Grange, where Lockwood stays, and he comes to visit Wuthering Heights. So in the very beginning, you are introduced to two houses. One is Wuthering Heights and another is Thrushcross Grange. In the first look, we get the idea that Wuthering Heights is an place of neglect. Rather, we will present it like that Wuthering Heights has an atmosphere of violence, clutter. The gate shows lack of welcome. It is fortress like. Fortress किले को कहते हैं, भारी भरकम, massive. So it represents wilderness and passion. On the other hand, Thrushcross Grange is contrast to Wuthering Heights. So the reader notes that there is a contrast between Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange, and particularly fire is given much importance, as the writer tells us that the grate of Thrushcross Grange is fireless, and there is roaring fire in Wuthering Heights. So the reader is able to notice the contrast between the luxury and comfort of Thrushcross Grange and the rough appearance of Wuthering Heights. Now the position of these two houses: Thrushcross Grange is in soft valley, and Wuthering Heights, it is uncovered, it is exposed to winds, it is on high moorland. So this is the physical contrast between the two houses. Now these two houses, they represent human emotions. They represent two types of lives which is lived by the character. Thrushcross Grange, it represents those emotions which are fine, no doubt. There is jealousy, there is spite, and Wuthering Heights, uh, it is always a place of abundance, जहाँ सब कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा है. Food is plentiful, there is lots of comfort as all fire is always burning there. Life in Thrushcross Grange is a bit cold. Meals are scanty, there is no fire, like that. So these two houses, they are symbolic in the novel. Another symbol is principle of storm and calm. So there is a critic, David Cecil, he says that these two houses, they are symbol of these two principles, principle of storm and principle of calm. In fact, the setting of the novel is symbolic, you can say. Wuthering Heights is land of storm. It is on a barren moorland. It is open to the shock of natural winds and storms. And so is the nature of Anshaw family. The children in Anshaw family, they are children of storm. On the other hand, Thrushcross Grange, which is in a leafy valley, it is a bit low in height, and the children in Thrushcross Grange, they represent the gentle, passive and timid nature which is comparatively calm as compared to the stormy passions of children of Wuthering Heights. So Heathcliff, who comes from outside, he lives in Wuthering Heights, so he is also a child of storm. You can always refer to the love intensity of love between Heathcliff and Isabella to prove your point that the inhabitants of Wuthering Heights, they are very, very violent, they are very passionate, and they are children of storm. So when you have a place where children are violent, they are of stormy nature, so definitely the theme they will correspond to the theme of revenge, of theme of hatefulness, theme of ruthlessness, like that. Okay, the second symbolism or the second type of symbols used in Wuthering Heights are doors and windows. Symbolism of doors and windows. So there is a lot of imagery in the novel where we are shown doors and windows. These images, they are interrelated. For example, in chapter 3, Lockwood, he sees a ghost. We know that this is ghost of Catherine. The ghost or the child ghost wants to come in, and he rubs her hand to the pane of window. So there is image of window. Then in chapter 6, Heathcliff and Catherine, they look into Thrushcross Grange from a window. They peep from a window. Then again, Catherine, when she lives at Thrushcross Grange and she is very ill, she wants to go out. Also at one point they lock Heathcliff at Christmas party. They lock Heathcliff in a room, and Catherine, she locks the kitchen door and throws the key into the fire. So the image of a window and door, it symbolizes inside and outside. Sometimes you are inside and you want to go outside, and sometimes you are outside and you want to enter into a place. So, and you can say that in the last chapter, when towards the end, when Heathcliff dies, he dies beside a window. The writer mentions it very clearly. It is the same window from where Catherine's ghost or the child's ghost, it wants to come in. So doors and windows, they are both imagery as well as symbols. Okay, next symbol is imagery of animals. There is a lot of images of dogs particularly. So when we talk about animal imagery in Wuthering Heights, we will talk about the dogs. Now we all know that dogs are of a violent nature, they are uncivilized, and they represent the animal side of man. The dogs which are shown in this novel, they are shown as attacking someone, or they are shown as fighting among themselves. We come to know that when Lockwood enters, he is attacked by dogs. Rather, Heathcliff he lets his dogs loose at Lockwood. When Catherine and her brother Hindley, he goes to Thrushcross Grange. They go to Thrushcross Grange for the first time. Catherine is bitten by Linton's bulldog. Then Kathy and her dogs, they are attacked by dogs from Wuthering Heights, Junior Kathy, and dogs, they also become the victim of violence of characters. For example, Isabella and Edgar, they fight over their dog and they tear it to pieces. It's a toy dog. And Heathcliff hangs Isabella's dog from a hook before eloping with Isabella. Even Hareton, he has a number of puppies in the doorway. So there is imagery of animal throughout the novel, particularly of dogs, and these dogs, they work as a symbol of a brutish world, uncivilized world, a violent world. Then there are other symbols in the novel. There is reference to unsure eyes, and the writer says that Catherine has particular unsure type of eyes. Then later in the novel, Hareton and Hareton and younger Kathy, they too have unsure eyes. So when you resemble someone, when you have a particular type of eye, it symbolizes some characteristics. Then there is a reference to teeth of Heathcliff, and we say that Heathcliff has sharp cannibal teeth. Cannibal, violent animal, meat eaters. So there is reference to Heathcliff's sharp cannibal teeth, which is again a reference to his violent nature. Joseph, the servant, he is referred as toothless hound. Hound is a kind of dog, toothless dog. So these images of particularly bodily figures, of eyes, of tooth, they also help the reader to understand the idea presented in the novel. Then there is imagery of nature. We are told many times in the novel that there is lots of wind, cloud, water and fire, hot and cold, storm and rain. So these elements of nature, they are used to distinguish between characters. Like Heathcliff, he represents one element, Edgar represents another element. So the images of nature, they are used to maintain the atmosphere and as well as to differentiate the characters. So you can say that our writer uses lots of a number of symbols in the novel to present his ideas, and then the language is metaphoric, and it also acts as symbols. For example, Catherine, when she declares her love for Edgar and Heathcliff, she says, write it in offline quotes. We have also done this quote in the character of Heathcliff, or the love of Heathcliff and Catherine. That Catherine says, I quote, "My love for Linton is like the foliage in the woods." Like she compares her love to foliage. Foliage means leaves, पत्तियाँ जो होती हैं पेड़ों की. तो she compares her love to leaf. So imagery of leaf is a symbol of something. And then she says, time will change it as winter changes the tree. So here winter, it is symbol of something which dries or which destroys the foliage of trees. So she says that time will destroy her love. Then she says, my love for Heathcliff resembles eternal rocks. Eternal rocks stand for something solid. So the language used in the novel is also symbolic. And you can say that the novelist makes a wonderful use of symbols which enhance the beauty of a novel. So this is symbolism in Wuthering Heights. In the next class, we will be talking about the narrative strategy used by Emily Bronte in Wuthering Heights. Now, questions are welcome from the students.